It's not a bird, it's not a plane, it's Superhero Slate. It's a modern podcast where we talk about everything that's great, like movies, TV, superheroes. It's Superhero Slate. Oh, yeah.
Hello and welcome to Superhero Slate, the show we run down the latest superhero entertainment news.
We love TV, movies, and superheroes, so let's talk it all out.
My name is Chris Dillard.
And my name is Mike Royer.
And this week we are talking the Eternals. We just actually got off recording our Eternals review, so that's out. If you have seen it, we recommend you listen to our review. We'll also be previewing or guessing a little bit what's going on with Disney Plus Day, Mike. I got some leaks in here we're going to talk about, which is like most of them in the show notes. So
love them leaks.
We're going to go over that. Morbius had a trailer. I have to legally put that up front. So so Morbius has a trailer and more.
So Chris is like editing the whole podcast now within Discord, which is actually streamlining his workflow. But now we kind of start the podcast in almost like this 20 seconds of like silence. So I feel like I'm almost like a musician, like standing behind the curtain, like waiting to walk out onto the stage. And then as soon as I bust through the curtains, everyone's like, ah. So we're bringing a little bit of a different, I feel energy at the very first couple seconds of the TV show. It's pretty. I laugh on the inside just because we've been doing it like the exact same way for hundreds of episodes, and now we're kind of like switching it up. So it's fun. It's good to be adaptable. Embrace change, people. That's what I'm trying to say.
I need a goddamn stream deck is what I'm thinking. I'm trying to do everything with the mouse and the time codes and everything all at once, and I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. I don't know how I'm going to do this. So this new audio thing, it looks cool as hell on video. We're recording it right now. I've preloaded an image for every article in here, Mike. Ooh. So we are going to have at least a title card image for everything in here, because I went ahead and did that last night, staying up late because we have an extra hour today. Like everyone got an hour back.
And of course, this is from the perspective of this of the video portion of the podcast that we're trying to build out a little bit. But don't be worried, folks. This will always and first and foremost be an audio-based podcast. This will just be a little bit of extra flavor if maybe you listen to us in a secondary monitor while you're working in the middle of the day, and maybe you want a video version of it, so you can just kind of pop on over and see what new posters are we talking about today? What casting? What does this person look like that's been cast as this character? We'll pop up a picture of their face. So
don't make promises, Mike. Unless you're doing it, don't make those promises. What we can say is give us a like and a follow, so you can stay up to date with everything, whether it's on video or podcasts, or tell your friends or lie to your friends to really get them to listen. Like, oh my.
I recommend lying to your friends. They're not family, so you can really cross that threshold and really say whatever you want.
Exactly. So we recommend it to get listeners to the show. But also, what's cool about everything we do, whether it's the audio version or the video versions, we have time codes for everything. So if you're looking to go reference something we've talked about before to prove someone that they're wrong, because we're always right over here on Superhero Slate, we'll have the time codes. You can just go whip that video clip out of here, send it to them through YouTube, send it to them through podcast, whatever you need to really show your knowledge to your friends. So that's really what we do this for. So I'm going to get back into some of these settings I'm looking at back here on our video, Mike. I'm going to let you talk about what you've been watching.
Yeah, so me and my wife has started a new tradition where we don't want to breach the firewall of American Thanksgiving when we are allowed to start watching our favorite holiday movies, right? We feel like those movies are sacred and cannot happen until after the festive eating turkey holiday. But everyone else seems to be getting into the season a little bit early, so we kind of want to dip our toe in. So our new tradition is from November 1st up into American Thanksgiving is when we just, it's like a random grab bag. Whatever new, dumb Netflix Christmas movie they made, we'll give that a shot. Weird, random Hallmark movie that nobody cares about, that's following these exact same formulas that all the other one follows, so we'll watch them there. So it's kind of like our testing proving ground. So we load up Netflix on this past Friday, and what is presented to us is a brand new Christmas movie by the name of LoveHard. that's starring I don't remember the lead actress's name, but her last name is like Dobrev. She looked kind of familiar. She kind of looked like the actress that plays Scarlet Witch.
Nina Dobrev, right? Is it Nina?
Yeah, Nina something Dobrev. She almost looked like a I keep wanting to say a Culkin, but that's not true. She almost looks like an Olsen visually, but she's not an Olsen.
Vampire Diaries, I think. One of those was it. Is it Vampire Diaries? Was one of those vampire shows she was in?
Yeah. Whatever. Her counterpart though was Jimmy O. Wang, who you might know as Jin Yang from Silicon Valley. I think he also plays a character on Netflix's Space Force. And, he's out there. He's getting his career started. He's a really funny comedian. And it was great to see the two of them on a poster. A very interesting juxtaposition. So we just went ahead and clicked play because the description is something along the lines of one of these people thinks Love Actually is the best Christmas movie of all time, and the other thinks Die Hard is the best Christmas movie of all time. What happens when they get together? Wacky hijinks ensue. And we thought it was just going to be just an god-awful experience, but it was actually like a pretty decent movie. I mean, our expectations were all the way to the ground, and we ended up having a good time. So I think if you just kind of need a new Christmas movie to add into the rotation that you don't have to like think too hard about, and you don't have a lot of nostalgia baked into it, go check out LoveHard on Netflix. I actually had a pretty good time with it, surprisingly. Like, it totally falls for some of the tropes that all of these kind of like rom-com Christmas movies fall into, but I think they do elevate some of the storytelling to like, oh, I actually genuinely laughed at some of the jokes, which it doesn't even happen a lot with a lot of just straight-up comedies nowadays.
Do you want to know the through line for this movie, Mike? The producer is Mick G.
Oh, yeah. I saw his name.
I
saw his name with you. I was like, Mick G. But I looked up the director, and not a whole lot out there in the world. So kind of like a fresh director. And then the writer, surprisingly enough, for kind of like this Christmas romantic comedy, it's written by two folks. Only one of them has a picture on IMDb, and that person looks like a Chad that walked straight out of a gym. He looks yoked, and he looked like he might be in this other movie that I'm going to talk about next. But I was like, this burly man who looks like he lives on a surfboard wrote this movie. It was just really funny to see that. So yeah, if you want an interesting Christmas experience, go watch Love Hard. Pretty funny. But that segues into the next movie. Interestingly enough, I have been blessed/cursed with 1 month of Paramount Plus, so I feel like I got to use it before I lose it. And I love watching just random movies I barely have to pay attention to when I'm working out, because I don't usually listen to music when I'm working out. I will just watch random stuff on streaming because I have a podcast where I have to keep up to date with everything out there in pop culture. So it's a good time to cram some in there. So I finally got around to watching Baywatch, a movie nobody was asking us to watch, so I don't even know why I made that excuse to begin with. But, when you see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on the screen, it makes you lift a couple extra pounds because he's huge, and it makes your workout a little bit more aspirational. But that movie was wild, not in a good way. It's hilarious because there's like an after credit scene of like basically threatening the audience with a sequel, and it's just like, this movie ain't getting a sequel. I think the only reason I bring it up is I think it was shot in Georgia, probably on the Georgia coastline, and I don't know what happened with their production schedule, but they weirdly enough couldn't find a single day to shoot where the sun was out. So you have your like introduction of like this beach and all of these lifeguards and all of these sexy people in bikinis, and it's like overcast the entire like first act of the movie. And I'm just like, they're not going for an ominous tone. This is supposed to be like fun time at the beach, and they just couldn't get the sun to come out. So it was just weird. So I never really thought about the meteorological quality of my films before I watch them, but now I'll never forget it. So I just thought that was really funny. So Baywatch on Paramount Plus.
From a filmmaking point of view, overcast is the best because you don't get harsh shadows anywhere.
Yeah,
you can control the lighting. However, most people just CGI the blue sky in later.
For a beach scene. Very strange to see all these sexy people in swimsuits, and it's just like, oh, it's cloudy out. But that is Baywatch, Paramount Plus. If anybody has any Paramount Plus recommendations, that's not Star Trek. I'm sorry. I only have like 2 weeks left of Paramount Plus. I do not have the time to literally finish anything Star Trek.
Well,
so
I think
that's off the plate.
This is the first time I think all the movies may have been on Star Trek, or all the Star Trek movies have been on Paramount Plus. Finally, I think it was like last week for the first time.
Yeah,
I'm like, you own those. Why would you wait to put those on there? But
yeah, I suppose I could watch a Star Trek film.
Have you watched Wrath of Khan?
I think I have seen the original, but it was a while ago and I didn't retain much.
Okay. Well,
go on. Over to the next streaming service, that is Disney Plus, which we'll be talking about a lot next week. But there's a great little there's a great little documentary over there by the name of A Spark Story, which is a little doc following the creation of 2 Spark shorts. I think one of them is called 20-something, and the other one is called Nona, and it follows the 2 short film directors that made those, and I just love to see how the sausage is made. I'm a big fan of Pixar and animation in general, so, if you really want to get into the production of the behind the scenes of the shorts over at Pixar, go check that out. And obviously this is a kind of like a company-directed documentary, so they're trying to get a specific message across. So there's not a whole lot of warts in this documentary, but it is nice to see the conscious effort they are making to bring different storytellers to Pixar. Pete Docter can't direct every Pixar movie till the end of time, right? They got to get new directors in there at some point in time. So go check out A Spark Story. It's really, really nice. And then this has nothing to do with anything we ever talk about on this show, but I'm sure its IP has been turned into a script at some point in time, right? But I played my very first game ever of Monopoly, asterisk, with the actual official rules. I've never played a game before that didn't have like a bounty and free parking, or just random wild house rules, or I never even used the auction functionality of the Monopoly game, which is the function that makes the game not last half a day. So even though the game went into the middle of the night, so it still took long, I won my very first game of Monopoly by the rules, so I feel like I have that under my belt. It was the Schitt's Creek version of the game, so I don't know if that is officially sanctioned by the Monopoly competitive headquarters, but I feel like I cut my teeth a little bit on this game, so I have that under my belt now. I just wanted to say I'm 1-0 when it comes to official Monopoly rules.
It's funny you mentioned that. In Fortnite, they added the Monopoly tokens as back blings or backpacks.
What?
This was literally on Friday. I was like, this is weird ad to weird flex.
Eventually we'll be watching the first Monopoly teaser trailer, and it'll be starring like, I don't know, Cuba Gooding Jr. I don't know.
It's Ryan Reynolds.
In it.
It's going to be Ryan Reynolds, right? Oh, I'm sorry. It's animated, and Chris Pratt is doing the voice of the Monopoly man.
My God. What can't the man do?
He's doing everything. He's voicing Garfield now, too, apparently. But, well, I'm going to jump into speaking of video games. I've been playing more Guardians of the Galaxy in my spare time. I crank through these games pretty good, but I'm actually really enjoying myself with this. It's referencing a war that has happened, and we won't see this war in the game, but it's pretty much a comic accurate version of Annihilation, a very cosmic war. There's lots of, I went through the collector's his museum. I bought a ticket and walked through and see like all the displays and stuff going on there, and it's really cool to see some of the stuff pulled into that from that universe. So this has been really fun. I've got my frost guns and I've got my electric gun, so element damage through the roof, man. So it's been a good time. I stopped meeting. So I've been with Cosmo, who was actually motion captured by a real dog for the game, and so I'm in that portion of it with the dogs. That's pretty fun. But again, this game will probably be on sale this holiday season, so I recommend anyone who's looking for a single player story game to pick it up. It's been pretty good. Let's jump into this. We just got off, literally hot off the microphones. Mike is so hot. Ow, a little sizzly there. Reviewing the Eternals. We were able to go see that this weekend, thankfully. I saw it Thursday night opening the IMAX, and you saw it at a regular screening Saturday morning. So we're were able to go in and watch it, and we did a whole hour-long review on that episode on this movie, because it is a huge movie with 10 main characters. Mike can name 3 out of 10 of them. He might be able to do better now, but he was able to name 3 out of 10 live on that episode. So this movie is going to, I believe, be talked about for a few weeks. However, I think another the next Marvel movie might release some information this week and kind of drown out any discourse, if you will, about this movie. Hot off my sources, Mike, tell me that we might be getting some Spider-Man stuff while we've been on the show this week.
Finally.
Yeah, so like a poster, and you know what comes with a poster? Usually a trailer. So
well, okay, for the last 3 weeks in a row, we've been saying that Spider-Man trailer,
Yep.
It's already out, and you're listening to this podcast right now. We feel like fools.
I don't care. I'm still saying it. I'm going with it. I'm sticking to my guns. But there was one of the sources I follow links says the poster's coming today, if not first thing tomorrow. So usually trailer text. But anyway, we're talking Eternals. There is some discourse out there. We talked about it. Mike, go ahead and lay your thoughts on it. I'll let you go first, and then we'll talk about
spoiler free. If you want the spoiler version, head on over to our spoiler cast of the Eternals. That's in our podcast feed. But spoiler free, I feel like this movie introduces some interesting concepts. I like some of the addition of the new characters, but there's a whole lot to juggle here, and I wonder if maybe there was a better way, a more eloquent way, maybe a more efficient way to tell this story overall. I love the striking visuals. I love the scale of some of the big and small characters. I felt like maybe some of our antagonists, their stories ended up in a way that I wish would have been a little bit more satisfying. But overall, I think there's enough here where I could recommend the movie. And I think I would put this maybe middle to lower tier Marvel overall. But it's really hard to talk about this film and not mention the Rotten Tomatoes discourse that is floating out there in the world. So it seems like a lot of the critics would lean towards not recommending Marvel's Eternals, but I feel like you could very easily recommend this movie. I think there's enough here to have a good time and a lot to expand on, but it's not without its flaws for sure. Mm-hmm. So check out the spoiler cast review if you want to hear all of the ins and outs of Marvel's Eternals. Not the Eternals, just Marvel's Eternals, apparently.
Just Eternals. Yes. They dropped the. I mean, so it's confusing. We were there when they announced this movie in 2019, was it, Mike? Mm-hmm. It was summer 2019. They were like, this is coming out in 2020. We were like, oh, hot damn. But it's been pushed back a year as it is. So, you know, we've been sitting on this for a year and a couple of years. So it's glad to do that. I agree with Mike. I'm actually probably a little more positive than I love. One of my favorite things about Marvel Comics is the cosmic stuff, the lore of bigger powers that be outside of the Earth, and this is the Eternals are a great combination of celestial cosmic lore and Terra human populations and how they mix, and 10 characters is a lot to juggle in this, and some of those characters do meet I wouldn't say they suffer because of that, right? Because you want to know everyone, you want to love everybody, and they do a great job making you care for these characters. So when you feel like, oh, this movie should be longer to get more of those moments and characters, that's a good sign. So I think it's been a good time. I think this is following Phase 4, Black Widow, Shang-Chi, then this is by far the loftiest of the three in Phase 4. This is, again, like I said earlier, swinging for the fence. It is trying to hit some high concept information into just a 2.5 hour movie. And when it soars, this movie really feels like a real movie sometimes, not just something like in the Marvel mold, if you will. So it does knock some stuff out of the park. There are twists, there are turns, surprises. If you think you know it, you don't. That's the best part about it. I love being surprised and not having any spoilers. And I think where this movie commits to what it does, I'm very excited to see where the future of the MCU is now that they've acknowledged these powers that are just beyond I guess Thanos, if you will. Like, Thanos was the biggest threat to Earth, and the Infinity Stones are different because they're very limitless power and itty bitty living space, right? That's the LoveHard reference. But like now you have literally, we talked about the idea. Mike has always asked us on the show the idea of scale. Mike, did they meet your expectation for scale? Is just, you can just say yes or no.
We still have some unanswered questions overall when it comes to a scale of gigantic cosmic beings and humanoid characters. So there is some left to be described, but I would say there are some pretty captivating scenes when it comes to big and small. So that was fun.
Yeah. So that, and then also fun end credit stuff. So stay around for that. And if you have seen it, listen to our review. We'll explain those a little bit more in there. So I think that's a solid go see from us, right? Like you'd want to see this in theater. I mean the visuals and the action scenes and everything really, I think, culminate really well in the theater.
I mean, no matter how you want to watch it, I could recommend this movie on some level, which just is butting up against the consensus of critics out there in the world. So as opposed to some other people out there, just because I disagree with critics, it doesn't mean I think that they should be abolished or we should burn down Rotten Tomatoes. But there is just a big question of like, why did it go the way that it went? I don't know if we'll ever have that answer, which leads to a lot of hot takes and discourse. But
clickbait all over.
Yeah,
we don't
remember at the end of the day, it's just a movie. There's other things that normal humans on the planet have to worry about. So just make sure your bills are paid and you're just chilling, relaxing.
We're not here to tell you what to like either. So if you like it, it's fine. If you don't like it, that's fine. We don't care. You watch what you want. If you're watching Christmas movies right now, though, I will judge you. I will judge you and put you on a list. So, Mike, that goes for you, and that goes for other people. You know who you are. You know who you are. Anyway, moving on through this, we're going to go ahead and talk about the Doctor Strange movie that was recently delayed. So, being delayed, this is like the second or third time, right, that has been delayed. We now have some merchandise.
It's merchandise.
So what we have here is a puzzle, which is weird that we're talking about puzzles. And I'm gonna have to fix this link because it just downloaded rather than actually show me what the link was. Is that it's a comic book Doctor Strange, fighting a big eyeball. And if you're familiar with Marvel vs. Capcom, you might know that big eyeball as the character Shuma Gorath. Are you familiar with Shuma Gorath and why this is kind of important?
We briefly talked about Shuma Gorath when episode 1 of Marvel's What If appeared, because when you're looking at Marvel, when you start to see tentacles flying around, you just automatically go to Shuma Gorath because kind of the only sentient tentacle that you can really think of at the top of our head. It didn't seem to pan out. We never saw the big eyeball, at least within the multiversal TV show. So it looks like at least within this coloring book, maybe leaning towards a giant eye, but also at the same time, a coloring book. I don't know if you can definitively look at something like that. Just like how you can't look at a Lego set for official, but I wouldn't be surprised. Shuma Gorath is a cool looking character. It looks like a D&D monster, right? Well, so I think that would be exciting to see on screen.
It's like a more tentacly Starro, for people who may not be familiar with it. Very much more tentacles, one big eyeball, very much a sorcerer supreme of another dimension. But what's this item that we're looking at here, this puzzle literally looks like just comic book art. Like I believe they could have just taken it literally from a comic book and put it on the cover of the puzzle, not the actual movie. And that would totally be what I could see them doing, right? Like that feels like what they've done here is just taking comic book art, right? So I'm not going to put too much faith into it. However, we have heard that Shuma Gorath may be in the movie. I would love to see it. I believe did you already talk about What If? They had the tentacles and like if you look up Shuma Gorath, like literally like people are like, oh my gosh, it was in What If. I'm like, we never really saw what it was, right? Like we just saw the tentacles. So if they are, that'd be a really cool. That would actually make What If connected to the MCU finally, because it was just kind of whatever. That's fine. What we're really here to talk about is next Friday is Disney Plus Day. Mike, are you excited for Disney Plus Day?
Oh, man. If it's anything like it was the previous year, which I know it was technically an investor day last year, it was hype. The whole day was exciting. I was glued to my TV. Probably should have been working. But, man, announcements. That's what this nerd right here lives for. So I'm so glad that it's not just weirdly in like the middle of the week. It's kind of at the end of the week. Usually things are a little bit slower for folks on a Friday. So, man, I'm down to clown.
I am putting in a day off request for Friday. That's for sure. Because last year during the Investor Day, like I said, they went through everything Disney, and not just they went through movies and TV shows and pretty much every property. And like I said, I went to Taco Bell, came back, still had like listened to it all the way there and back. It was wild. But like I feel like this is gonna be like much more brief and much more thing. But like we just got off Fandom, right? So Marvel needs to hype us up for the Disney Plus. We have another year on our subscription, Mike, since we both did the 3-year plan.
Until we got to start paying monthly.
Yeah, until we got to go back and see what the next deal is. I wish we could bank some for that, but I believe we have Marvel, we have Star Wars, we have other Pixar and Disney stuff coming up for this. But what do you want to see, Mike? What are you looking to get out of Disney Plus Day? Because I put some stuff down here that I want to see, and you may echo those sentiments, but what are you trying to get out of this?
I think obviously we want to see some footage for. I don't think they've necessarily delineated phases just yet for the streaming series, but I do want to see a little bit more out of these next projects, which I think a lot of people are looking forward to. We've had a big lack of, I would say, Star Wars on Disney Plus when it comes to all of the announcement that they made last year. I swear they announced like 12 live action series, it feels like, last year. We haven't had a whole lot of follow up there. So I'm curious where that's going to go.
You want that Andor series, don't you? I know you're a big fan of that Andor series.
And then, of course, the X factor of the unknown, right? What is the brand new thing that we don't know is happening that's going to be announced, right? What's going to be... I'm trying to think what's the equivalent last year when it comes to Marvel. Like, what's going to be the Ironheart or Iron Wars?
The Secret Invasion kind of stuff.
Yeah, what's that thing where we're only gonna get the logo for it, right? And nothing else. So I'll be looking forward to that. And then it's always fun to see the other stuff that Disney is working on, like what random Disney property are we gonna see? I think there was I want to see more of the Zootopia series that they announced last year, because I love Zootopia. Such a good movie. I want to know what they're gonna do with that.
I don't know much. I mean, I would like to see where they're taking this. Again, one I put down. I want an Obi Wan trailer, at least footage, right? Like I want to see Ewan McGregor in official clothes as Obi Wan, and you know what? I'll even add a little cherry on top to my wish for you, Mike. A lightsaber, a blue lightsaber. That would be pretty sick. They'll probably show Andor footage, but that's not my wish list. Again, footage from Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and Moon Knight. Those 3. I'm calling them Phase 2 Disney Plus shows because technically they were announced secondary. Are we going to get that confirmation Miss Marvel is using crystallized powers? Will we actually see a fully realized Tatiana Maslany as She-Hulk, you're right, in the green form.
Oh, yeah. What's that visual going to look like?
Yep. And then Moon Knight, what's his costume really look like? We've seen a couple leaks, but I want to know what are they committing to here? We have Oscar Isaac, a big actor here, right? Just got off of Dune. What's he going to do with that? And then new announcements. I agree with you. What is the unknown? What is next? Is it is it an X-Men TV show before we get a movie, like a mutant?
Oh, yeah. We won't be, this is going to be Disney Plus related, so it doesn't seem like we're going to get cinematic announcements, but who knows? Maybe there could be something teasing towards Fantastic Four or maybe Blade in some way. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot here that we, like you said, we just don't know, and it's not that we, we're ignorant about it. It's like they just haven't told us yet, and I'm very excited. And there's gonna be a lot of hot takes on this week as well. I'm pretty sure people are already trying to get those clicks this week.
And thank goodness for a Friday for a Friday drop, so we can talk about it on Sunday.
That's right. We will have it right off there, as much information as we know. Now, one thing that seems that will be announced and is confirmed is Werewolf by Night has an actor cast to be the main role, I believe, here, Mike. So we actually are looking at actor Gael Garcia Bernal as the lead role in this 2022 Halloween special. Now, we've talked about this before a little bit with Werewolf by Night. I've never heard of a Werewolf by Day, so I don't know how he's not normally a normal werewolf. I don't know much about this character, but it seems like it'll be a one-off short, and he may, chance of being, be introduced in Moon Knight before he gets his Halloween special next year. Now, that'd be pretty solid. What do you think?
That's actually kind of an interesting strategy, right? You could be introducing, a character like Miss Marvel, a big character to be added to the MCU, and you introduce them in their own streaming series before they kind of make the graduated step to the big screen. Well, you could kind of do the same thing with maybe an antagonist or a villain or maybe somebody a little bit lower tier, right? You go back one step, introduce them in like a 90-minute special, and then when they show up in a streaming series, you got a little bit more weight and backstory to them. That could be kind of fun.
Or it could be something maybe they felt like they really resonated with, who shows up in one of the episodes, and like, let's follow this character a little more and see where they are.
Yeah, I'm not saying that this couldn't be made to be entertaining, and it's probably not the best example, but maybe like one-off specials could be employed a lot in the future. Like maybe how did Crossbones become Crossbones in between Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and Civil War, right? How did he scrounge up that armor? I wouldn't be too excited for that, but that's just the first example that popped up in my head.
So the idea is, you mentioned 90 minutes. Well, what if this is a one-shot? Maybe this is the introduction of one-shots again. Like a 15 to 20-minute thing.
Like a little short film. Yeah, that could be interesting.
I think that would actually maintain a budget better, and also kind of like you say, entertaining. Like, I don't want to sit down and watch a 90-minute Werewolf by Night thing, like a movie. Give me something short, like a little bite, and then introduce more of these with more characters. And I think that'd be a way to do it.
I mean, one shot's the best way to describe it, but it kind of makes me think of what was the Punisher short with the laundry?
Dirty Laundry.
It's just called Dirty Laundry, or like the
Venom one.
The Venom one, where it's just on like a black and white in an apartment. Yeah, that could be kind of fun. Maybe kind of doing those on an official scale. I mean, Disney Plus loves shorts. Like I said, it's a very easy way to increase your catalog without necessarily increasing your budget, right? Because when you do your Investor Day presentations and you want to soar your stock price, right? You point to the number of, we added X numbers of things to Disney Plus this year or this quarter. And nobody's following up with like, well, how many minutes of content did you actually add? Like, no, just numbers of content. Not
you could also, hours watched will go up as well.
Yeah, that's true. Hours watched. That's one way to do it too. But yeah, so, that's always one thing interesting to think about when you're talking about Disney Plus. The one side of it is the audience, and the other side of it is the shareholders and the numbers that you want to present each quarter throughout the year. So it's a strategy.
And this is a way, I think, to flesh out minor MCU characters without having to spend an entire series or movie to them as well. Like, 20-minute thing. Let's do that. I mean, it helped Agent Carter get a whole TV series that's no longer canon. So take it or leave it.
It's canon. It's probably just a multiverse.
Yeah. We haven't got there yet. They've kind of wiped those ABC shows off the table though. But that's fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and jump into some hot leaks this week, Mike. Some hot leaks. I know you love leaks. So these are Marvel Studios leaks. These were posted on Reddit. The source was verified by the moderators before this came out. So I think all this is going to be announced this week already, okay? So a lot of this is going to be Friday, so we're going to see how much we get correct. But first and foremost, Kevin Feige hates leaks, and he will change stuff if they get leaked early enough, just to prove people wrong.
That's a threat, people. Yeah. if you really wanted to see Silver Surfer pop up in the Eternals or something like that, and then it leaked. He's like, no, I'm taking Silver Surfer. Out. Yeah, he's out of here.
If he brought us into this universe, and he will take it out of this universe as well.
He's the mom. He's every mom out there with that threat to their children. So don't misbehave, folks.
He will turn the cinematic universe around. You watch. But the first one is that Jim Carrey has been cast as MODOK for multiple series/movies, and he is rumored to make his first appearance, whether as his human form or not, in She-Hulk, Then also Ant-Man Quantumania.
MODOK has been hitting the scene a lot, right? It's got his own comedic Hulu series, showed up in the Marvel's Avengers storyline. Goofy looking dude, right? So I feel like, maybe like an Ant-Man, a more humor-based movie is going to be the best way to introduce this television-looking mofo.
And you know, if he's straight as is, I think it'll be harsh. But he seems like a character who would commit to transforming over time. You know, kind of like how he did with Sonic. Now, She-Hulk has been a half-hour comedy series is what it's being billed as. So easily can see Jim Carrey being in there as well. If he's looking for, She-Hulk, she got, Hulk blood and now she's a Hulk. I want to transform myself. Could easily be a way how he gets to MODOK. I see the connection there vaguely, not necessarily directly as the villain. But Jim Carrey as MODOK does excite me a little bit, if I was to be completely honest. I think you want someone who's a little unhinged and has those comedic chops. Now, he is no stranger to superhero films. He was the Riddler in Batman Forever, which he was essentially playing the Joker, but yes.
Yeah, I don't know. I never saw the Cable Guy. That was a superhero too, right? He had powers.
No,
I think, right?
That's just a regular person.
Regular man by day, Cable Guy by night.
That's the weird part. You shouldn't be Cable Guy during the day. I was trying to think if he was any other. I mean, Sonic is, I guess, his video game movie. Did he have anything else you can think of?
Jim Carrey, he was a '90s darling for me, and then things got a little introspective for him, at least recently. So I haven't seen a lot of new stuff from him, but he's a talent.
Yeah,
I know he's got a interesting real life personality that I don't know a whole lot about, but.
Yeah, I mean, I say even early 2000s, he had the Grinch, which you shouldn't be watching until December. All you people out there talking to you, but yeah, I think this would be an interesting casting choice if true, and hopefully this would be one of those surprises we get on Friday that even if this is true, it's still going to surprise the hell out of me. So I'm very excited to kind of put a pin in this one and be like, will this come true or not, or has somebody else been cast as MODOK, or has he been cast as somebody else in this thing? So let's jump down here to Moon Knight. Vampires, big. We're hot off the heels of Halloween, right? Vampires, so hot right now. And apparently Moon Knight will be our introduction to vampires before we get to the big screen version of Blade.
I mean, that makes... I don't know a whole lot about the character, but I know they are kind of rooted in the mythology of kind of Egyptian culture. Yep. I don't necessarily associate vampires with that, but you got mummies, and that kind of exists in the universal monster universe, right? Mummies, vampires, Frankenstein creatures, if you will. So yeah, I could see it vibing in there somehow.
Moon Knight and Blade kind of exist in this Marvel... not Max imprint, Marvel Knights imprint, where at Daredevil, they're fighting stuff at night in the shadows that you never know about during the day, kind of thing. So I could easily say talk about Dracula being a major villain. Well, the moon god Khonshu has always chosen a someone to be his I guess totem in the real world. So over time, over decades, Khonshu and Dracula could be at odds, and Moon Knight, Mark Spector's caught in the middle of it, possibly. I would love to see Mahershala Ali Blade make an appearance in the MCU. So this is great. And then the other thing is a thread that we may see take over, Mike, is Dora Milaje may be a connecting thread to all these MCU MCU TV short or episodes.
Yeah, they're just a seasoning, right? They take out the seasoning from the pantry and they just sprinkle them on every series. They'll pop up and they'll probably be like a trend, right? They'll pop up in the third episode of every series. Yeah, just do some cool shit and then they'll drop out.
Yeah. So I think that'll tie into maybe Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, maybe not. I don't know, but we don't have Nick Fury anymore because we saw a couple years ago in Spider-Man, he's out in space with the Skrulls. So the Dora Milaje would be an interesting thread throughout that. Back to She-Hulk. There's a rumor there's going to be a Hulk fight, Mike. Do you want to see Hulks fight it out?
I mean, I assumed, right?
Well, She-Hulk and Hulk never really come to blows, right? They're kind of not against each other, I guess, if you will. So if they are fighting, whether it's for training or against each other, I don't know. That's the conversation is, how are they fighting? Why are they fighting? And how cool is that going to look finally to get a Hulk fight? Because we saw Abomination back then. So I'd love to see where they've come from 2008 to 2022 in terms of CGI for Hulk fights and how cool that's going to look. William Hurt to return as General Ross. This guy is getting up there in age, but he is one of the, he will have been stood out in the MCU from the Incredible Hulk all the way down to Black Widow recently. So
you can't stomp out that mustache, Chris. It's ever present.
You can't do
unaging.
A grumpy old white man in the military is what he'll always be. Charlie Cox will be there as Daredevil and Matt Murdock, but a variant of his Netflix character. Gonna put a pin in this one. This might be something they announced this week. People want Charlie Cox as Daredevil so bad they can't see straight, Mike. Like, I don't think anyone else could ever be cast as Daredevil and anyone would be happy about it.
I weirdly think, I'm not saying this couldn't be true, but like this just goes to show you humans' ability of pattern recognition, right? Not a whole lot of famous iconic lawyers within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but as soon as you start talking about a She-Hulk show, everybody just automatically assumes, oh, well, Matt Murdock's got to be there, right? They're two lawyers, right? Well, I mean, I think they could exist independently of each other and it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But humans, we're always looking to recognize patterns, so that's probably why that rumor has not stopped, not even for one day.
And I guess of the things from Netflix to carry forward, I guess the Daredevil series is what people want the most, right? At least be thankful nobody wants Iron Fist to come forward, because then we'd be upset. Abomination will have a big role in the series. Unsure whether it's Emil Blonsky or the creature form. Can we talk about Shang-Chi yet, or do we have to wait till next week when it's on Disney Plus?
We'll wait one more.
We'll wait.
And plus, we have Disney Plus Day to talk about some of that stuff too. So,
well, either way, Shang-Chi, Legend of the Rings is out on Disney Plus next week, so for free if you pay for it. So there you go. And lastly, Titania is the villain, and they will have 4 mocap actors as the Wrecking Crew. You remember the Wrecking Crew from Earth's Mightiest Heroes? Those big bulky guys with like the crowbars and like the big dozing ball. Yes.
Apparently, were they featured in the Heroes for Hire episode where they were with Luke Cage and Iron Fist? Were they fighting the Wrecking Crew in that episode?
They might have been. I also know they fought Thor at one point because they're Asgardian Enchanted in the comic books. I don't think they're Asgardian Enchanted in the MCU if they do come forward. So I'm interested to see what those look like if they do have motion cap actors playing these big, like, beefy men who swing around wrecking equipment. So there's that. Moving on to Black Panther, Wakanda, or War for Wakanda. Namor is due to appear due to the ocean's status.
Just the ocean. I mean,
this is yep.
Yep. There is some ocean. There was a non-explicit, but definitely some stuff happened to the ocean recently in the MCU.
Yes. That's what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So I didn't bring that. Anyway, I want to leave this as vague as possible. So I believe that. So, and Okoye will dress up as Black Panther at some scene, but not long term. So we'll get to see. I can't think of the actress's name off the top of my head. Dana Guerrera as in the Black Panther outfit, which is cool. So currently hiatus on Black Panther is paused filming because Letitia Wright suffered an injury. Also because she's a dumbass. So we'll see how that goes.
Well, did she? I mean, she was eventually probably going to injure herself from being anti-vaccination.
Yep.
So it was, bound to slow down production.
See my previous comment, Mike.
Is she the Aaron Rodgers of the MCU? Bam! Sports reference finally on the Superhero Slate podcast. Wow. I can only bring this up because it was briefly trending on Twitter, and I hung out with a friend from Wisconsin last night who was very invested in the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how this goes. Black Panther, War for Wakanda, big question mark up in the air. This movie's already been rewritten once due to the loss of Chadwick Boseman. So this has really got a big question mark up in the air for that one. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will apparently show Xandar's destruction by Thanos in flashbacks. What do you think about that? So we finally get to see that for a little bit.
Is this part of this set of rumors?
Yes, it
that
is. Yes.
popped up on Reddit?
Yep.
That's interesting because a lot of what we're talking about here until we kind of came up to Black Panther was streaming Disney Plus stuff, right?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden we got 2 cinematic rumors here. So maybe we possibly will see some cinematic news on Disney Plus Day. And I guess it's not totally out of bounds because these things will eventually, right, 45 days later, land on Disney Plus. So yeah, we could get some movie announcements.
It could be. It could also be whoever is working for Marvel just happens to have access to everything all at once. So
yeah, I suppose it's true that the mole inside just copy and pasted any folder they saw, right?
Exactly. And if not in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, this scene about Xandar's destruction could be in the Marvels as well instead.
Or maybe it's in that holiday special, right?
You are
I don't know how
holiday special.
I don't know how. No, the holiday special of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know how festive that is overall, right? But it could be there.
Well, I think you bring up a good point. The Guardians holiday special and the Werewolf by Night, they are holiday specials they're going for. But I think it'd be interesting to show in Guardians because they already were there in Guardians 1, right? Like they have a history with it. So I'd like to see that. So that's a way to also bring Thanos back because that was like our biggest complaint, right? He started the movie literally with the Power Stone already, so we didn't get a whole lot out of that one. So, anyways, well, that is the end of our leak / I guess Reddit section there. So now we're gonna jump into the next big section, which I'm still getting hot news off the press for Spider-Man No Way Home right now. It is currently banking at 2 hours and 39 minutes, which would make it 2 minutes longer than the Eternals we just watched.
Put it in my veins. This movie could be 3.5 hours long, and I think I would love it. I mean, as much as the franchise is mired in the joint relationship with Marvel and Sony, I have overwhelmingly enjoyed every Tom Holland appearance in the MCU. So I have no reason not to think that I am going to love this movie.
Exactly, and also. It is not an introduction to characters. It is the end of a trilogy for Spider-Man, right? So he's had 3 movies, and I believe if things are to be taken seriously, and they're not just rumors, we will have every Spider-Man and villain in this from the past 20-something years. So I'm very excited to kind of see where this is going.
We've been talking about this damn trailer for weeks now, waiting for it. We thought we'd get it in front of Eternal so they could play it in front of the movie. Didn't happen. Now I would say I would be surprised if it came out on Monday, at the beginning of the week. You would know now if you're listening to the podcast if it's out yet. But doesn't it now kind of make sense? Maybe you put it on Disney Plus Day? Is that possible? Is that more of a Sony thing to drop the trailer? Where exactly does that happen?
Yeah, I believe it's Sony. Again, everything I'm seeing right now, the poster will arrive at midnight tonight, Sunday, first thing Monday. So people who are listening to this on Monday are probably waking up to the official poster. And usually it's knowing Sony because they'll probably put a featurette out about the trailer and then a countdown 3 more days to the trailer. I don't think we'll get on Disney Plus Day. I think if they do, I don't know what they tie it into, but let's say announce a Miles Morales Spider-Man show on Disney Plus, which would blow my pants off. But
that would be huge.
Yeah. So I think we are due for a trailer. Tickets need to go on sale, man. We are a little over a month away. It'll be 5 weeks, I believe. Coming up this week.
Can't hold anything back now.
You can't. I want the Spider-Man trailer, Mike. I'm tired of all the rumors and the alleged leaks that people are just putting up because they want clicks now. So I don't know. I'm excited for this, but instead Sony gave us Morbius. We got a trailer.
Remember Morbius, folks?
Yeah,
the vampire that was supposed to be out a little bit ago.
Yes. So the trailer, they gave us a featurette for the trailer a day before the trailer, which didn't Jared Leto is the only other actor I think who makes me feel as awkward on camera as Ezra Miller does. So I was like, he wasn't as weird as Ezra Miller in that Flash teaser that we got. But they gave us a Morbius trailer, and we did a little hot take on this when it came out. You can catch it on our social channels. This I don't know. I don't hate it. I'm not in love with it, but it's weird.
It feels exactly like it's in the Venom universe, tone, visual styles, everything about it. But yes, but weirdly enough, your hypothesis is that this movie exists within the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man universe, I believe is what you were floating.
Yeah.
And then when you said that, it unlocked a part of my brain, which would mean the Tom Hardy Venom exists within Andrew Garfield's universe, which makes sense just because Electro is such a freaking bizarre villain, which I feel like could totally share screen time with Venom in a weird way. But then this trailer has the Vulture in it, which I suppose Michael Keaton could be a variant of himself from another universe. I don't know.
Could be the end of the trailer, the movie.
The scene definitely reads as the end of the movie. I guess the only real bright spot that I can take out of this trailer, because who asked for this movie to begin with, especially from Sony, is the visuals look pretty good, right? It looked, I kind of personally hate the way it looks when Venom comes out of Tom Hardy, because it either just looks like really cheap of like, oh, goo just came out of his t-shirt, the shirt didn't even move, the goo just emitted from himself. Or in the very first movie when he kind of like shakes his head back and forth and his face subtly changes to like a Venom with like some teeth. It looks so dumb in my opinion. So I had my bar set very low for these Sony movies. The vampire shots look pretty cool. They do some pretty cool like morphing exaggeration to his like cheekbones and stuff.
Well,
so I that kind of looks cool, but that's all I really have to say, to be honest.
So that's one thing we talked about. Jared Leto, he's a pretty boy. You hire him to be a pretty boy, right? Or do some weird fucking weird movie where he was like a blind man in like Dune, or not Dune. Blade Runner 2049, who was directed by the Dune director. That's why I said that. But like they go full facial, when he goes full Morbius living vampire mode, they go hard on him. Like they don't make him look like Jared Leto. Like he's like a full on vampire looking, pig nose looking dude in this. Who's ugly.
We have unlocked the secret sauce of how Sony makes a anti-hero movie. Is you just make them dependent on human flesh in some way. Venom needs brain, Morbius needs blood, and they'll go to any lengths to get it, but they're not trying to be a bad guy. I'm just trying to think, what does Scorpion need, right? He needs fingernails? That's what powers his suit? I'm not a bad guy, I just need people's fingernails. They harvesting off people. Very strange, but...
Well, so, there's
Morbius...
there's nothing really new revealed here other than the fact he's a doctor and does not know what sonar is. He says it's some sort of bat radar, echolocation, right? Like, you're a goddamn doctor. You don't say bat radar, but whatever. However, I will tell you this. I took a pulse on people who are not in the know like we are, right? Like the average moviegoer. A lot of people excited to see this movie, whether it's Jared Leto or just like the intriguingness of, I don't know if it's vampires or like the horror, the darkness of it. Because this trailer feels very black and white color.
Could you imagine people's opinion of this movie if it wasn't called Morbius and it had nothing to do with a comic book franchise and it was just like a weird like pet project? It would be so weird to be like, why is he making this? What is going on here?
Yeah, but I mean, people other than us, they're into this, Mike, and I can't say anything. But
all right,
where the hell does this movie live is my question, right? We saw the Oscorp Tower was from the Amazing Spider-Man. The murder Spider-Man spray is actually the Raimi suit, apparently, and Adrian Toomes the Vulture is from the MCU. So fuck us for guessing on this one. Like, they are literally baiting us with either incorrect things or just to fuck with us. What if they got Michael Keaton just to film the trailer, Mike? What if he's not even in the movie? What if he's just there to film that one scene from the trailer?
I don't put it past him. I honestly do not put it past him.
That would blow. Oh my god! I'm starting to think they're starting to hire actors just to fuck with us. So. Oh
my god! You've officially been cast in the trailer for Morbius. Yeah, I'm in the movie.
No,
nope.
The trailer.
You're in the trailer.
We're gonna need you for 15 minutes next Thursday. Are you available?
Yeah. You don't even have a line. You have 2 words that you have to say, see ya, or something like that. Yeah. Well, we live in a world now where a movie like Eternals can get a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes. So maybe Morbius will dazzle us with a 90% from the critics. Who knows?
I don't think it'll do that, but at least again, at the end of the day, fuck critics. People's dollars will decide what movie is successful, and I feel this movie is gonna make money, despite how we feel about it.
Say it so solemn.
Yeah, I just have a feeling. It's just, I feel like hopefully we're wrong. God, I hope we're wrong. I hope we enjoy it. Like, I hope even if it's the middle of the ground, that'll be higher than the bar. I just hate Jared Leto so much, Mike. I just he's my anti-Timothy Chalamet.
No.
So anyway, let's talk about something that gives us even less information in the trailer: the Book of Boba Fett.
You forgot. You were like, oh, we forgot to talk about the Book of Boba Fett trailer on last week's podcast. I was like, Chris, that came out on Tuesday or Monday. That's why we didn't talk about it. And you're like, oh, I forgot already.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, we forgot to talk about Boba Fett. And I was like, wait a minute, this has been a long ass week. So had to watch a movie. I had the Morbius featurette that day, but the Boba Fett came through and gave us a look at the show. And, it looks like some He rules by respect, not by fear, and that's about it.
I'm really getting one-off vibes from this series, right? Kind of like a one-off comic book of like, oh, we'll do 5 issues on this character, and then we'll let it lie, and then we'll continue on with our our summer storyline.
Regular scheduled programming.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like we'll get about 6 episodes of Boba Fett, and then we'll be on our way back to seeing Mando or any of the other stories. Well, I'm not saying it's a bad thing or anything like that, but I'm just getting the vibes of like, I don't see much longevity here. Kind of just seems like it seems like the character of Boba Fett is on the cusp of retirement, right? He's just trying to get his ducks in a row, trying to get his condo moved down to Florida, trying to get his Social Security checks ready to go, and he's out of here. He's retired. So this kind of seems like maybe a last hurrah for the character.
Yeah. Well, I said a couple things. Boba looks a lot more. He's been out in the sun a little bit more than the last time we saw him when it was like pale as shit.
Oh yeah, that's right.
He looks more like, we just got the regular actor in and he's got a normal tan. But I believe, judging by the red shields and the outfits, that is the Crimson Dawn, which is ties back to the Han Solo movie. Do you remember the Crimson Dawn's what Kira worked for and like the
I don't remember anything about that movie, Chris. What's Crimson Dawn? What are you talking about?
No, literally the crime syndicate that was run by Darth Maul, that Emilia Clarke worked for. Like, that's the Crimson. I believe they're playing out in the comic books right now. I believe this is one of those like, this is how it's going to tie back into the Star Wars universe at large. Is like, we're dealing with an even larger crime syndicate somewhere out here. I don't believe Emilia Clarke will show up in it, but if they do an age her up, I wouldn't be surprised. But like, I feel like that's what it's going to tie into. I don't know if, like you said, there's longevity here. He may die by the end of it again. I mean, everybody wants to kill Boba Fett, right? Give him at least a warrior's death. But if not, they like, okay, hey, you were successful. We're going to put you back on your throne, and we'll pull you out whenever we need you later in the season finale of Mando.
I don't even know if this is possible at all within the timeline of Star Wars, because I can't even keep track of it anymore. But like, whoa, can you think of a better like action figure debut or better action figure playset in your head than Boba Fett versus Darth Maul? If that could happen, I feel like it'd be a little one-sided, almost like Batman versus Superman. But Batman won that fight historically in the comic books, so I could see like Boba Fett getting scrappy, figuring out how to fight a Sith with like a dual lightsaber and I guess robot legs at this point in time, right?
Well, so he's dead by this point, but yeah, it's fine. I think Boba Fett even ran into him maybe in the Clone Wars show, like a younger Boba Fett. So, there's an opportunity. Like I think the Crimson Dawn has an opportunity here to play. That comes out December 29th. However, there is rumors of a Darth Maul animated series in development as well. That's post Clone Wars, but pre Rebels. Like, what did he do when he was running this Crimson Dawn? So I believe this Crimson Dawn crime syndicate is going to be like the next big villain in the Star Wars canon going forward, right? Like,
flesh it out a little bit. See what's gonna go on.
We don't need the Empire anymore. We're just gonna deal with thugs and crime and stuff like that. Like, that's where Star Wars can shine a little bit. And what is that the Patty Jenkins Star Wars movie, Rogue Squadron? Like, there's some other of those TV shows that probably dealing with the crime. I feel like they're building towards this. So I think this Darth Maul anime thing, if true, and maybe they'll announce it on Friday, will fit into that, because I believe the Bad Batch probably has another season left in them, and Darth Maul, they just keep cranking out animated stuff in that era, and that artwork, it's beautiful. It's done so well. They've come a long way. So Darth Maul's a pretty good character. You haven't watched all the Clone Wars, have you? Have you caught up with that?
Man, I can't keep up with this Star Wars cinematic universe in any way. The timeline's crazy. So, no.
It has it's about on par. I mean, MCU's got more stuff. I think you're capable. I think you're capable of doing it. But Darth Maul was always a standout in the Clone Wars when they brought him back. So you can check that out. And lastly, as of yesterday, Mike, this came out yesterday, right? The Stranger Things season 4 trailer dropped on a Saturday, which was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was like Stranger Things Day.
Yeah. Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm sure it was filled with like interviews, featurettes. I wouldn't be surprised if they like announced like, I don't know. Like
I saw nothing else.
A comic book or a novel, stuff that's like not much weight to it. But what everyone was waiting for was a trailer.
Yeah.
We gave it a watch before we hopped on the podcast. This isn't like a Stranger Things podcast at the end of the day, really. I'm sure there's tons of them out there. Stranger Things, nothing bigger out there in the streaming world than this one specific show. The biggest prestige hit, not prestige hit, but just the biggest blockbuster that Netflix has ever made. So it's a big deal when stuff about the next season's coming out. I think we both like the show. I like the show. Chris seems to be a little bit like, I'll just dig into it just because it's out there in the zeitgeist. But I'm looking forward to it. It looks fun. This is kind of like Superhero Slate adjacent, I would say.
Well, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it made Netflix viable for original shows, right? I mean, before that, did Netflix have anything original? I mean,
they had things like what was the political drama? House of Cards. They had some other stuff.
Yeah.
This was their first big like, look what we can do. You gotta have Netflix because you gotta watch this show.
And again, it brought David Harbour was already a big actor beforehand, but brought David Harbour back to the forefront of that stuff. Brought these other kid actors to the forefront. I will say, it's been 2 or 3 years since the last season of Stranger Things. These kids have aged up, and they keep giving Will the worst haircuts. That poor guy, he has the worst haircut luck in the world.
Whatever decade he's in, he has the worst haircut available, which is just honestly kind of funny. I think if I remember right, I don't know if it was an official spoiler cast for the show, but we definitely had a segment where we talked about and rapped on the last season of Stranger Things. So we'll probably do the same at some point in time next year whenever this comes out, because you just can't avoid Stranger Things. It's huge. It's a juggernaut.
Yeah, and they didn't really give us a date for anything, but they gave us the episode titles, and so people can make out what they wanted. The first one is the Hellfire Club, which is actually an X-Men reference. Hellfire Club might be something else, but that's an X-Men reference. The Monster and the Superhero, would love to know what that is. Dear Billy is a reference to the guy who played the Power Ranger. What's his name? The brother that died in the last season. And then the other thing was Papa was what she called her lab captor or whatever. So anything else? I don't know. I don't know anything else. However, we didn't get any upside down footage in this trailer. It's just like the Russians are after us, and that's about all we got.
We're still in teaser territory, right? We don't really know what the narrative of this season is, but there's a little bit filmed out here in California, so we'll get some of those SoCal vibes with this season. And all of the one thread that I'm seeing in this season is all of our heroes have been cast across the globe, right? You got David Harbour like in some sort of Siberian prison. You got some of the kids on the West Coast. You got some of the kids still stuck back in Indiana. So I feel like there's going to be some sort of like interdimensional portal that is wrangled by these kids, so they can kind of bounce around the globe. It's starting to feel like. But, that's my only guess here.
Yeah, well, that's how what's his name got from Hawkins, Indiana to Russia, right? Is probably through his portals, and they don't know he's alive. So when they find out, it's definitely going to be interesting. So there's a lot of questions. I'll watch it. I'm not against it. So we'll see when it gets here next year. Mike, that's our episode. We did 2 today. Man, I always forget when we do movies, how long the afternoon goes. But I'm happy. It was a good time. We had a good time with it. So people know what you're up to, what you're doing. Where can they find you at?
Oh, they can find me at Mike Royer Design on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can read my webcomics at pickledcomics.com. Chris, if people want to catch up with you, where can they find you?
You can find me on Instagram, Valdan87, or Twitter, Valdan, Valdan. And I apologize. I mess up a lot of these images on this video today because I'm juggling too many things. I'm keeping time codes. I'm changing images. I just forgot to do it because I need to double monitor myself up here, and that's coming. Mike knows that's coming. I went ahead and got a new computer for a new generation of podcasting. So very excited for that. But yeah, so apologize for that. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for whatever you guys do. People know more about the show, where they can listen to Eternals review if they've watched it, and more. Where can they find that at?
Oh, all you got to do is visit superheroslate.com. That's the best place to find all the avenues we host our show and to get our show notes. So if you want to see anything that we talked about today, we got that in our show notes over on the website and also in your little podcast descriptions. If you didn't know, there's usually like a little drop-down arrow or something like that. You can get that all there. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Spotify, wherever else you love to listen to fine podcasts. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. You can get merch at superheroslate.com/store. We love hearing from you. Please reach out. What are you looking forward to on Disney Plus Day? What are your predictions? What's your like dark horse announcement? Like, what do you think? Like, oh, no one's expecting this, but this might pop up. I'd love to know what that is. If you want to be a super fan of the show, all you got to do is share the show with a friend, share the show with a buddy. Make sure you're getting vaccinated and boosted. And we'll be here every week, folks.
That's right. We'll catch you guys next week.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe.